What is up, everybody? Keith, aka Gator Guy 231, and we have reached Boxing Day in the EPL. Normally, a day filled with huge contests and massive slates. A little bit smaller this year, but we still have a really good 3-game slate on Draftkings, which I think is really interesting from a building perspective. We'll go right into that here in a minute. Just a quick reminder: if you enjoy these videos, bottom right is a subscribe button. Please hit it if you have not already you've been watching these. It really helps our site continue to grow. With that, let's jump into the odds and the slate. So I just want to start with the odds. So one thing, kind of a treat on the slate, is that we have 2 games locking at the same time. So we'll have 2 sets of lineups, with the only lineup that we're waiting for is going to be Arsenal and Chelsea. That's the late game. Chelsea, a slight favorite away from home, -101, 2.5 total. We have Fulham and Southampton. That's about a 2.5 total as well. Pretty close to an even game. Southampton's slightly favored on the road, but just very slight. And then I think the most important game of the slate is Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. Aston Villa -110, 2.75 total. So the reason that Aston Villa is the most important game on the slate is that I think almost everybody is going to run to Jack Grealish, who has the best, I think RotoWire said it best, the best set taking floor in the EPL. And honestly, it's always like you could very easily see him all of a sudden jump on some sets every once in a while. But, he's almost locked for double digits regardless. Doesn't matter where he plays. If he's at the left wing, if he's playing as the 10 spot, just an absolute joy to watch. I was commenting with my partner in soccer, Tendril Storm, that, he's just such a joy to watch, not only from DFS, but for soccer, just how he takes everybody on. He earns the fouls he draws. So Jack Grealish is the first guy in my lineup. I think most people are going to want to do something like this, where they go Jack Grealish, James Ward-Prowse, and then Mason Mount. So the 3 monopoly set takers. I'm going to go to the monopoly thing again in a minute with Mason Mount. The issue with doing this is I think that you can make a strong case that El Ghazi might actually have the second best floor on the slate outside of Jack Grealish. Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to say Mount and Ward-Prowse, but if you just watch these games, the last 2, El Ghazi 8 shots in the last 2 now versus West Brom. One of those was a PK, and then they were up a man. But versus Burnley, they were dominant. I think that Palace is a little bit better than West Brom and Burnley, but it's not significantly better. El Ghazi also been taking some set pieces. So he's a guy, honestly, I think for me, I want to actually build around El Ghazi, potentially, I might change my mind, potentially over Mason Mount, get me filling a forward spot, and kind of getting off some gross forwards. I think a lot of people are going to end up playing, and you'll see why I'm doing this route in a minute, because I think a lot of people at the forward spot are going to want to try to go with something like Willian, revenge game Willian. But we saw versus Everton, Arsenal can get outpossessed, and he's so set dependent. If he's not getting a lot of corners, they're just not good. But I think a lot of people are going to go Willian plus where are we at? Caballero, where is he at? 5,400, who I think obviously is a great play if in. But I think that's how you go ahead and get Mount and get fullbacks, right? But again, there's a good chance that Willian plus Caballero does not outscore El Ghazi. I don't know. It's just a weird time to say that El Ghazi may decide the slate, but that is potentially where we're at. Is are you playing El Ghazi and paying up at a forward, and then you're probably still going to go down at 1, right? So you still might end up on Willian, or you still might end up on Caballero. Maybe you could even go 500 save on Bertrand Traore, who's taking the other sets. Honestly, Traore is taking more dead balls, but El Ghazi's open play is so much better, and he's on PK, so that's why I prefer El Ghazi. But that's what really makes this interesting. So for me, I think I'm going to spend up at forward. It's going to leave you in a weird spot on utility, but I think that's okay versus almost going, in my opinion, too conservative with a Willian plus Caballero. Again, I think a very nice part about this, though, is we're going to get that Aston Villa lineup. I can't imagine El Ghazi's out. It should be El Ghazi up top, Watkins, and Traore on the right, and then Jack Grealish in the hole because they're playing well. But we'll see. I think that full-on forwards situation is going to be really important to watch. And the reason why is if you don't get Cavallero, Adam L. Lookman could very well be on some set pieces and just also has actually better open play value than Cavallero for 6,600. I much prefer him to Willian personally. So I think he would be a really good forward play. And then, the other play. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The other option is that Tom Kearney could save you 2,200 off of Mason Mount, and would also be splitting some set pieces and even kind of a little bit on the majority of set pieces if in without Cavallero. So we really want to watch Fulham. Southampton, I think James Ward-Prowse is the easy play. The cool thing about Southampton is in a lot of ways that outside. I want to make sure. Danny Ings, I think, is questionable. Okay, he's actually likely going to be out. But outside of James Ward-Prowse, the rest of Southampton is just kind of gross. Not like anybody you want to go out of your way to target. I think the only other guy that I'm interested in is Ryan Bertrand, who I think at 4,000 is a very, very solid play. I just think a lot of people are going to be on Emerson, which we'll go over in a minute. So, yeah, that's Southampton versus Fulham. Crystal Palace versus Villa. I kind of already have talked about Villa. I think really the only guys, because the fullbacks got priced up. Matty Cash at 5,900 is just way too expensive. Matt Target at 5,300 is too expensive. I think the only guys on Villa you're going to be wanting to target is El Ghazi, Traore, Grealish. If you want to play Watkins for the goal upside, I guess it's fine. At 7,200. I would strongly urge you to find the extra 1,000 for Traore, and even more so the extra 1,500 for El Ghazi if you're on that. Let's see. Anybody in Palace? The only way I'm on anybody from Palace, to me, I guess that Townsend could be interesting at forward. He's just been doing so much tackling. Villa's just been playing awesome. And watching the games, they're not exactly a team that you want to go against. So I don't think I'm bet on Townsend or Eze. If for some reason both of them missed, and we could think that Luka Milojevic is on a majority of sets, I guess that could be nice. 44,000. He was actually really good versus Liverpool in the game that they got destroyed. So I think that he's a fine punt, even if we don't necessarily think we see Townsend or we see Eze. I think at 4,000 he still gives you a decent some open play value too. So because he will take free kicks, so take some direct free kicks. So yeah, that's Palace and Villa. Let's just go to the last game, which I think kind of hinted at it with Mason Mount, but I think he and El Ghazi are the two most important plays in the slate. Look, Mason Mount has been all season a thorn in my side. I can never get him right. I fade him, he blows up. I lock him in, and he does nothing. Ben Chilwell is out. Emerson took one corner when he came on. Mason Mount, I think, took the other 4 or 5. I do not think, and I might be in the mark on this, I do not think that Mason Mount is a lock by any means. Chelsea, in a lot of ways, especially in more square type of games, is not the most DFS-friendly side. And Mason Mount, the position that he's in, is not a friendly position for open play value. He becomes really set dependent. So I think at 7,700, I think he's fadeable. I'm not saying to fade him. I'm sure there's going to be other people out there that just say he's just lock and load. And I get it. I think I'm in the minority on this. But I would much rather play Emerson, who is 4,700. Good open play value plus a share of set pieces. Maybe more corners fall on his side than on Mount's, and you get on the good side of variance. But look, I kind of hinted at, but you can get just a really, really nice balanced build, if you play Mount. So it's cool. It's just going to depend. Are you going to play a Villa forward, or are you going to play Mount? That's potentially going to be the slate in cash. Outside of Mount and Emerson, the rest of Chelsea is kind of gross. You can play Azpilicueta as long as he's on the right. Reece James is out. He's fine. He's not great. He's fine. Kovacic has been actually half decent in midfield. Werner, Abraham, Olivier Giroud, revenge game within. And then Pulisic are all fine. Pulisic's actually, I was all over him last night, and he was terrible. He's actually an okay forward play if you want a little bit more I was going to say pizzazz. I don't even know if that's a word, but if you want a little more flair, there you go, Luis Pacheco. If you want flair in your lineup, I think Christian Pulisic's the way that you could do it at the forward spot. But yeah, that's about Chelsea. Arsenal side of things, I think it's just pretty gross at this point. Willian, revenge game, 6,200 majority of sets. I much prefer Pepe, and we know now Pepe's on on PKs as long as Aubameyang isn't in. I would expect Aubameyang back if fit. Let's see. I didn't even look. I don't know what to take from that. Probably will be in. But if not in, Pepe is fine. I think Pepe, like, it was just so hard. Like, Arsenal should have shown up versus Everton. Like, that should not have been something where they would get dominated. And, like, possession, like, it was not pretty. And, like, William was terrible. Pepe, we got those that played him, myself included, we got bailed out with the PK. So I'm really struggling to go back to Arsenal in this matchup. Martinelli was really nice in the League Cup, but he's 7,100. It's really tough. Yeah, I just don't see Arsenal pieces that I'm like excited or want to go out of my way to play. What's Maitland-Niles? Even Maitland-Niles, if he's playing at wing back, is 4,200. And then if you don't get him, you could get stuck, with Tierney. Like, you had like 4,200 for Maitland-Niles and he's not in. You see Tierney in the back three and you might get stuck there. So it's just tough. It's tough to rely on Arsenal. Recommendation would probably be to not. All right, that'll do it for Boxing Day. That last little 2 game state, honestly, I haven't even looked at it at the time of recording. I will by the morning. I'll just say this is probably a stacked Man City from an optimal building point, which gives you some decent chances to pivot in GPPs. Well, thank you guys once again so much for the support. Good luck in your Boxing Day contest. For those at FSI, we'll see you all in the morning. And if you have been thinking about joining, tomorrow would be a great day to do it. Link is in the details below. With that, once again, Gator Guy 231, Merry Christmas and see ya!